Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Sri Isopanishad. We are on mantra 7. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atma vabhut vijanata
Atma Vaibhut Vijayanata
tatra ko moha ka shoka
Tatra ko moha ka shokha
ekatvam anupashyata.
ekvatam anupashyata.
Would somebody like to read?
I can read.
Please. Thank you.
One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality one with the Lord becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? Purport. Except for the Madhyam Adhikari and Uttam Adhikari discussed above, no one can correctly see the spiritual position of a living being. The living entities are qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, just as the sparks of a fire are qualitatively one with the fire. Yet the sparks are not fire as far as quantity is concerned. For the quantity of heat and light present in the sparks is not equal to that in fire. The Mahabhagavata, the great devotee, sees oneness in the sense that he sees everything as the energy of the Supreme Lord. Since there is no difference between the energy and the energetic, there is the sense of oneness. Although, from the analytical point of view, heat and light are different from fire, there is no meaning to the word fire without heat and light. In synthesis, therefore, heat, light, and fire are the same.
The last time we heard about the Kanishtadikari, the beginner devotee, who understands the Lord in the temple, but he does not understand the Lord is in the heart of everyone. He sometimes quarrels with the devotees, but at least he's begun his Krishna consciousness. Then comes the Madhyam, who understands his object of love is God, who makes friends with the devotees, who stays away from the non-believers, and who gives Krishna consciousness to whoever is willing to hear. And then the highest is the Uttam Adhikari, the Mahabhagavat, one who's completely understood his spiritual position. I'm a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and he is completely engaged in that relationship. You know, he's the pure devotee of the Lord, and he has revived his love for Krishna. And because he's on the spiritual platform, he's on the transcendental platform, he can see everyone as spirit souls. He does not see the different bodies, but he sees the spirit soul everywhere. So then continuing that, Prabhupada is saying that Madhyam and Uttam. So Uttama, he's seeing everybody. He's actually able to realize. Madhyam may be able to realize it, or at least he understands it theoretically. Theoretically, he understands. So what is it? That the living entity, every soul is a part and parcel of the Supreme Soul, that every soul is a part and parcel of God. So the quality is the same. Spirit and spirit. God is spirit. We, the spirit souls, are also spirit. But the quantity is completely different. You know, we are souls, and God, He's the supreme soul. We are only inside our one body, whereas God is inside everyone's bodies. So there is a difference. To help us understand this difference also, Prabhupada is giving us the example of fire. Fire, the fire itself. Then the fire has sparks. Okay, so the fire has heat and light. The sparks also have heat and light. But the quantity of heat and light in a spark is different than the quantity of heat and light in a fire. That's what we have to understand. Simultaneous, one, and difference. Lord Chaitanya came especially 500 years ago to teach us this principle of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. Simultaneous, one with God, yet different from God. We are one with God in the quality. God is Sachidanand, we are Sachidanand. But we are different from God in quantity. God is the supreme, but we are tiny, minute. So this is how simultaneous, one, and difference. We are energy of Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We continue reading.
In this mantra, the words Ekatvam Anupashyata indicate that one should see the unity of all living entities from the viewpoint of the revealed scriptures. The individual sparks of the Supreme Whole, the Lord, possesses almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole, but they are not quantitatively equal to the Supreme Lord. These qualities are present in minute quantity for the living entity is but a minute part and parcel of the supreme whole. To use another example, the quantity of salt present in a drop is never comparable to the quantity of salt present in the complete ocean. But the salt present in the drop is qualitatively equal in chemical composition to all the salt present in the ocean. If the individual living being were equal to the Supreme Lord, both qualitatively and quantitatively, there would be no question of his being under the influence of the material energy. In the previous mantras, it has already been discussed that no living being, not even the powerful demigods, can surpass the Supreme Being in any respect. Therefore, ekatvam does not mean that a living being is equal in all respects to the Supreme Lord. It does, however, indicate that in a broader sense that there is one interest. Just as in a family, the interest of all members is one, or in a nation, the national interest is one. Although there are many different individual citizens, since the living entities are all members of the same supreme family, their interest and that of the supreme being are not different. Every living being is a son of the supreme being. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.5, all living creatures throughout the universe, including birds, reptiles, ants, aquatics, trees, and so on, are emanations of the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all of them belong to the family of the Supreme Being. There is no clash of interest.
So, ekatvam anupashyata. What does ekatva mean? Srila Prabhupada is explaining to us this point. That equal, but equal in quantity as equal in quality, as we just said, spark also have heat and light, fire also have heat and light, but quantity is different. And again, to explain further, Prabhupada is saying the quantity of salt in a drop of ocean water and the quantity of salt in the full ocean is different. Quality is same. If we do the chemical lab test, the chemical equation will come out same, but the quantity is different. So this is what we have to understand. That yes, we are one. Again, the same point is being understood, because what happens, we misunderstand. We think that we are God or we can become God. We have to understand we can never become God. We can never become equal to God, but we can only revive our relationship with God. We can realize who we are. We are parts and parcels of God. We have a loving relationship with God. So there is no one equal to or greater than God. Even great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they are not equal to God. Although they are great, great demigods, they're lords in their own right, Like Lord Shiva is the lord of the material world, but yet he can't equal to Krishna, because Lord Krishna is the lord of the spiritual world. Right? So here is said almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole. The individual sparks of the Supreme Whole possess almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole, but they are not quantitatively equal to the Supreme Whole. So God has qualities. We also have qualities. Sometimes people think, oh, having a quality means material. But the original qualities are there in the spiritual world. And this material world is only a reflection. So because there is quality in the spiritual world, there is quality in the material world. Like, for example, we are standing in front of the mirror. Because we are standing in front of the mirror, we can see our reflection. So because there's reality in the spiritual world, this perverted reflection is here of the material world. So now what does it mean? That the individual souls can have 80% of the qualities of the Lord. So Krishna, say he has 100%. He has 64 qualities in full. He has these qualities, but he has these qualities. The degree is unlimited. Okay. Then Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu has these qualities, but only 60 of the qualities. Krishna has 4 qualities that Lord Vishnu doesn't have. Then Lord Shiva has 55 of Krishna's qualities. Again, the quantity will keep on decreasing because Krishna has the qualities unlimitedly. But Lord Shiva has 55 and Lord Brahma has 50 of the qualities of Krishna. So any living entity who perfects himself, who gets self-realized, who can understand I'm not the body, I'm the soul, he can get 50 of these qualities of Krishna. But we have to understand that the quantity of the qualities is very tiny because our size is tiny. A 2 GB, a chip which can just hold 2 GB can just hold 2 GB because that's what the size is. Whereas something which can hold 5 GB can hold 5 GB because that's what the size it is. So there is a difference in our potency between God and us, although the quality is the same. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So if we calculate it, almost 80% is said, right? 64 of Krishna's qualities. And if we do almost, it's actually about 78% or so, I think. If we do 78%, it's 49.92. So that is what a soul can, a living entity can get. And Lord Brahma, he has that. He's a perfect living entity. Lord Brahma, also a living entity. He's also a Jivatma. And any of us can become Lord Brahma if we want to. Of course, we need to have the qualification. For example, any citizen of a particular country can apply to become the president of that country, provided he has the qualification. So the president of the country is also a citizen of the country. So Lord Brahma, he's also a living entity, and he's is a post. Like how we say president. President is a post. It keeps changing. So we can get this 80% of the qualities. We have them. It's just we have forgotten. We have to revive. So the more we hear about Krishna from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, from the devotees, the more we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, the more we can revive these godly qualities in us.
The spiritual entities are meant for enjoyment, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra 1.1.12, Anandamayo Bhyasat. By nature and constitution, every living being, including the Supreme Lord and each of his parts and parcel, is meant for eternal enjoyment. The living beings who are engaged in the material tabernacle are constantly seeking enjoyment, but they are seeking it on the wrong platform. Apart from the material platform is the spiritual platform, where the Supreme Being enjoys himself with his innumerable associates. On that platform, there is no trace of material qualities, and therefore that platform is called Nirgun. On the Nirgun platform, there is never a clash over the object of enjoyment. Here in the material world, there is always a clash between different individual beings just because here the proper center of enjoyment is missed. The real center of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, who is the center of the sublime and spiritual rasa dance. We are all meant to join him and enjoy life with one transcendental interest and without any clash. That is the highest platform of spiritual interest. And as soon as one realizes this perfect form of oneness, there can be no question of the illusion, moha, or lamentation, shoka.
So, Anando Mayobhyasan. Anando Mayobhyasan. We all want to enjoy. Oh, I did this because I wanted to enjoy. I went here because I want to enjoy. That's what our nature is. Always seeking enjoyment. Ananda Mayobhyasa. Even the Supreme Lord, because his nature is to enjoy, that's why we are our nature to enjoy. Because we are part and parcel, no? Because he's Satchidananda, we are Satchidananda. So the Lord is always enjoying. We also want to always enjoy. But what's happened now is because we are in the body, we are thinking that we can get enjoyment with the body. But the body is temporary. The material world is temporary. So the enjoyment that we are getting on this material platform is temporary. But by nature, we are spirit souls. We are eternal. So we are looking for eternal happiness. We don't want temporary happiness. We are like, hey, I was just beginning to enjoy. What happened? Suddenly it's not there anymore. Why? We feel that. We begin to enjoy, but then after some time it's gone. We begin to enjoy, after some time it's gone. Because we need to enjoy on the spiritual platform. We are forgotten, we are spirit souls. So we need enjoyment on spiritual platform, not material. So enjoyment, it's our nature. By nature, we need enjoyment. Where to find the enjoyment, that is our mistake right now. We are thinking we can enjoy with this material body, in this material atmosphere. Whereas the real way we can enjoy is when we can realize, oh, I'm a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. I need to be in the spiritual atmosphere. That's when we can really enjoy eternally, unlimitedly. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
A godless civilization arises from illusion, and the result of such a civilization is lamentation. A godless civilization, such as that sponsored by the modern politicians, is always full of anxieties because it may be crushed at any moment. That is the law of nature. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14, no one but those who surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord can surpass the stringent laws of nature. Thus, if we wish to get rid of all sorts of illusion and anxiety and create unity out of all diverse interests, we must bring God into all our activities.
So we have turned away from God as a society, the more we are getting modernized, as we say, the more we are turning away from God. We are barely given any, like there's no education system which is telling us about God, which is telling us, hey, your spirit soul. Everywhere we are being, the propaganda is to turn more and more away from God. And that's what's creating more and more anxiety in us. That's what's creating more and more fear. The illusion is getting deeper and deeper. So Krishna says, 7:14, that Devi hi esha gunamai, mama maya duratyaya, mam eva ye prapadyante, mayam etam tarantite. that this divine energy of mine, which consists of 3 modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome. But those who surrender unto me can very easily cross beyond it. So he's saying this divine energy of mine, this material world, belongs to Krishna. The material energy, we say universal energy or universal power, but who does that energy belong to? Belongs to God. When we say energy, means has to be energetic. When we are saying sunshine, has to be a source. It's coming from the sun. So who's the source of this energy? It's God. And so Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 7:14, he is saying that you want to cross beyond this energy, this material world, you surrender to me and you can easily cross beyond it. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Very, very difficult. It's like an unlimited ocean. We try to swim across an ocean. It's very difficult. Suppose we say, I'm going to swim across the Pacific Ocean. How do we think we are going to be able to do it? We won't. But if we get a suitable boat, yeah, for sure. No big deal. So the suitable boat is taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna to cross beyond this vast material ocean. And the more we take shelter of Krishna, the more we can get rid of our anxiety, of our fear, of our illusion. And that's why Prabhupada is saying we must bring God into all our activities. So the more we can connect ourselves to God, the more fearless we will become.
The results of our activities must be used to serve the interest of the Lord and not for any other purpose. Only by serving the Lord's interest can we perceive the Atma Bhuta interest mentioned herein. The Atma Bhuta interest mentioned in this mantra and the Brahm Bhuta interest mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 18.54 are one and the same. The supreme Atma or soul is the Lord Himself, and the minute Atma is the living entity. The supreme Atma or Paramatma alone maintains all the individual minute beings. For the Supreme Lord wants to derive pleasure out of their affection. The Father extends Himself through His children and maintains them in order to derive pleasure. If the children obey the Father's will, family affairs will run smoothly, with one interest and a pleasing atmosphere. The same situation is transcendently arranged in the absolute family of the Parbrahm, the Supreme Spirit.
So we are working. We can't stop working. Soul is always active. We need to keep doing something. And then what are we doing? What are we doing? We're always trying to get sense enjoyment. Let me do this, I will enjoy. Let me do this, I will enjoy. But if we can change these activities, or rather, we say, okay, I will enjoy, yes, but let me first offer the result of my activity to Krishna, and then I will enjoy. Then we can gradually come to the liberated platform, to the Brahmabhuta platform. So offering the result of our activity to God. Like somebody is cooking. So cooking, offer it to God, and then having it as prasad. Or somebody is working in business. So then one offers the result, some portion of their income for God conscious activities. And then, also enjoying. Or keeping a deity at home, in our house, inviting the deity, taking care of the deity. So, what do we say? Bringing God into our life and then offering our results of our activities to God. Then in this way, we can come gradually to the liberated platform, Brahmabhuta. Brahmabhuta platform is a liberated platform, understanding that we are spirit souls, part and parcel of God. So this is karma yoga, when we are result of our activity must be used to serve the interest of the Lord, that becomes karma yoga. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, whatever you do, whatever you give away, whatever you eat, do it for me. That is karma yoga. So we like to do something. We like to paint for Krishna. We like to sing for Krishna. We like to cook for Krishna. We like to work for Krishna. That becomes karma yoga. So God himself is Paramatma. We are the Jivatma, the minute Atma. And there is a loving relationship. Just as there's a loving relationship between the father and the child. The father is always maintaining the child, whether the child knows it or doesn't know it. But the father always maintains the child. Similarly, we have a very loving relationship with God. It's an eternal relationship. It's not that once we give up this body and we die, then our relationship with God finishes. No, we are spirit souls, so we are eternal. God is the supreme spirit. He is also supremely eternal. And our relationship is spiritual and it is eternal. So we are encouraged to come to that platform, to revive our loving relationship with God. So we are Brahman, God is Para Brahman. We say Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit soul. Yes, we are spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi. But we are not the supreme spirit. The supreme spirit is God. That's what we have to understand. We can never become Para Brahman. We are always Brahman. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, where he's giving the knowledge of the soul, that the soul is unchangeable. Our size can't be changed. Immutable. We can't be cut to pieces, not withered by the wind. We can't, he says the soul is never born, it never dies. The soul is eternal, ever existing. So we continue to exist even after we give up this body and even after we get liberated. Even after liberation, we continue to exist as individual souls.
The Parabrahman is as much a person as the individual entities. Neither the Lord nor the living entities are impersonal. Such transcendental personalities are full of transcendental bliss, knowledge, and life eternal. That is the real position of spiritual existence. And as soon as one is fully cognizant of this transcendental position, he at once surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Being, Sri Krishna. But such a Mahatma or great soul is very rarely seen because such transcendental realization is achieved only after many, many births. Once it is attained, however, there is no longer any illusion or lamentation or the memories of material existence or birth, or the miseries of material existence or birth and death, which are all experienced in our present life. That is the information we get from this mantra of Sri Isopanishad.
So we, spirit souls, we are individual. We have our own individuality. We have a sense of existence. We know we are existing. And God, He's an individual too. He's a person. We are personalities. We each of us is a living entity, and so is God. God is a supreme personality, He's called. We are persons, every person, we say, right? Every person. So God is the supreme person. It's not that God is not a person. If we say, oh, no, I'm a person, but God is not a person, then we are trying to say that we are superior to God. Means we have something that God doesn't. So then what are we trying to say? That, oh, I'm greater than God? But no, we are not greater than God. Our actual position is we are part and parcel of God. So we are persons and God is a supreme person. And all the Vedas say that. All the spiritual authorities say that. So Krishna, He's Sat Chit Ananda, eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. Lord Brahma, in his Brahma Samhita, he says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchid Ananda Govinda Anadi Radhi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So that Lord Krishna, he is the primeval Lord. Govinda, he is the primeval Lord. He is the cause of all causes. And he has a body, he has a form, which is transcendental. Sat Chit Ananda. God's body is not material. It is spiritual, Satchit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. And that is also our spiritual body. The soul is also Satchit Ananda. Right now we are thinking we have this material body, we are thinking we are the body made of this blood and skin and flesh and bones. But our real position, we are Satchidananda, part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is Satchidananda, we are Satchidananda. Now Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapatyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. He says this in the 7th chapter, that Bahunam Janmanam Ante. But after many, many births and deaths, one who is actually in knowledge, one who's realized knowledge, he surrenders unto Krishna. Why? Understanding that Krishna is the cause of all causes. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Then Krishna says, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. But such a great soul is very rare. He's a Mahatma. Why? Because he surrendered to Krishna. Mahatma is one who is surrendered to Krishna. Pure devotee is Mahatma. It's a great soul to able to understand that I am an eternal servant of Krishna. And Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, such a person who can understand that he is my servant, he is surrendering to me, he is very rare and he is very, very great. But once we attain that platform, that is a liberated platform, then there is no anxiety, no fear, no depression, no lamentation, no illusion. No need to take birth again in the material world. No need to keep dying in the material world. You're situated on the Brahma Bhuta platform, on the spiritual platform, understanding I'm a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. I have a loving relationship with Krishna and engages in that relationship. So Prabhupada is saying we're getting this information from this mantra of Sri Isopanishad. And devotional service begins by hearing from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, from the devotees. Hearing from the devotees from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So any questions or comments on this mantra that we just read?
No, all good.
Yeah. Anyone wanted to share any realization? No, then it's almost 40. We'll have like about, I don't think we'll be able to complete this mantra. You all want to start this new mantra or stop here and then we do this one next week?
I think we can do it next week.
Next week, yeah, better, no, to have that continuation. Yeah. Okay, so then we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and joining in. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Bhakti.